Hey guys, today I am making my favorite ever holiday dessert. It is a pecan or a pecan, whatever way you want to call it, pie, but it is a super duper healthy one. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Now, first off, this is a collaboration with the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. She is going to be making her very favorite holiday dessert. Not going to tell you what it is because it's a bit of a surprise, but hop on over to her channel and check it out. I do not think you'll be disappointed. And of course, I'm making mine. So I'm loving this collaboration with her. She's just amazing. All right, so healthy pecan, whatever way you want to swing it, pie. So I've been dying to do this for so long. And the reason is, well, there's two reasons actually. One, because I absolutely love pecan pie. I just love it, but it is typically so full of sugar and refined flour and dairy and sometimes butter and cream that I feel so terrible after eating it that I just won't, and I just can't in good conscience give it to my family either. So I was determined. I thought there's got to be a way that I can make it much healthier, and there absolutely is. So my pecan pie has no refined sugar, it is gluten-free, it is dairy-free, and it is full of nutrients, and it is freaking delicious. And but the one thing I will say is that it is not sugar-free, because I'm using a lot of dates, and remember that even dates have a lot of sugar, so it is not a diabetic-friendly pecan pie, but it is something that is healthy enough that everybody can have a large slice of it for a delicious holiday treat. All right, now let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to show you how to make is the crust, the pastry crust. Now, I wanted to make a proper crust because you'll see a lot of these kind of vegan, raw, foodie sort of crusts where it's a no-bake pie or a no-bake pumpkin pie. And while I do like some of those crusts where they use a lot of dates and they just sort of mush up nuts and dates and you freeze it or you put it in the fridge, I wanted to make a proper crust because I do like a pie crust. So this is a really interesting one, and I experimented about 4 or 5 times, didn't work the first 4 times, and then I came across this one, and this one works. And even if I say it myself, I think it's genius, and I think it's going to be one that you're going to make for years to come. So as I said, it is gluten-free. Shall we get started? I'm going to just move my pie over because we don't need that. We'll slice that at the end. So ingredients in my pie crust. So the first thing I have is 1 cup of gluten-free flour blend. Now this one is by Jovial, and I'll put the link underneath the video. It's their pastry flour blend, and I like it because it's a healthy gluten-free flour blend. Some of them really aren't. They're full of refined flours and not good, but this is a lovely one. So that I'm just popping into my bowl like so. Then I have 1/2 cup of ground almonds. You could use almond meal that you buy at the store, but I actually ground up whole raw almonds because I like the brown. I like to have the skins in there too. So I'm popping those in. And I love almonds or almond meal because it makes the crust very, very buttery. And to make it even more buttery, I have 1/2 cup of ground macadamia nuts. These are such a treat, I think, and perfect for the holidays. Again, we're really thinking buttery here. And what you're getting with this crust is a lot of protein and a lot of really, really healthy fats. Now, next up here, this rather odd-looking mixture that I have here is simply 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed in 2 tablespoons, or actually it was 3 tablespoons, excuse me, of warm water. And I've left it out for about 5 minutes, and you can see it's just sort of thickened. This is also known as a flax egg, but that's going to go in and it's going to really help bind your pastry. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in right now. Okay, I'm going to start mixing that a little bit. And I've just realized 2 of the ingredients that I forgot to put in, which I'll just pop in now, are a little bit of salt, about 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon of ground Ceylon cinnamon. In that goes. I'm going to mix that up like so. Now, Next thing to go in is I'm using date syrup. You could use brown rice syrup, but date syrup is a little bit healthier. So I'm popping in about 2 tablespoons of date syrup, like so. And then finally, I have 3 tablespoons of melted earth balance, which is a vegan, like as vegan butter. You could use coconut oil if you wanted to. So that's going in like that. And now, all we got to do, my friends, is stir it up. Can you see that consistency there? So as you can see, it is not, it's not like a pastry. You couldn't roll this out. It's going to be too wet and too sticky to roll out. But when you mix it all up together, it is coming away from the sides of the bowl, which is basically exactly what I want. So as you can see here, it completely comes away from the side, but it doesn't crumble like, cookie dough. It's just, I'd say it's kind of a similar consistency to cookie dough, very similar. It's maybe a tiny bit wetter, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is I have a pie tin, and I'm simply going to just grease that with a little bit of, I have a grape seed cooking spray that I like here, and grease it really well, because otherwise this absolutely will stick to the sides. And then, my friends, what you're going to do is you're going to pop it in there. This is actually the really, really fun part, and actually is a really fun thing to do with your kids. And you're going to use your hands to press it into the dish. And this takes a little bit of time. Little hands, I'm telling you, love doing this. So if you've got kids or grandkids, or you are in the mood of something super therapeutic, I'm doing it really quickly here, but when you've got more time, it is fun. And what you want to do is you're going to press it towards the sides of the tin, okay, because you don't want a big thick mound in the middle. You almost want it a little thinner on that little area there. Thin and flat, think pie crust, okay? And what you can do, my friends, is you can leave the edges ragged like this if you want a slightly more rustic look, or if you want to get fancy and you want a little bit more of a sort of proper pie, you could actually just scallop the sides, which takes a little bit longer. I did one yesterday when I did that, but I'm not going to do that right now. And then I think we're good there. That's it. Boom. And now what we're going to do is pop it in the oven, 350. I've preheated for about 15 minutes, but you've really, really got to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. You really, for me, the center of it firmed up and the sides have just started to brown because it will go back in the oven when you've got your filling in. All right, now we are ready for the filling. Now for the filling, typically in a pecan pie, there would be cream, there would be a lot of sugar, butter, all of that good stuff. But the great news is you honestly don't need it. So all I'm using is, I have about 2 cups of pitted dates. Now you can use any kind of date really, but the king or the queen of dates is the medjool date. And in a way, they are the most expensive dates, but in a way I would go for it because it's the holidays, because they really are very, very chewy and large. So I have pitted those guys and they're going into a heavy bottom saucepan. And now I'm going to add about 2 cups of filtered water. And that is going to go on the stove, and I'm going to simmer that without a lid on because I want the water to evaporate for about 10 to 15 minutes. And as you're simmering it, you want to have a wooden spoon and you want to be continually stirring it because it really can burn if you leave it. And the other thing is that you want to just mush up the dates because as it simmers, the dates will start to lose their form and fall apart, and that's exactly what you want. Then, when it's simmered and the dates have sort of all but disappeared and you've got this thick, sort of gelatinous, yummy filling, and it'll start looking like a pie filling, then you're going to add your brown rice syrup. And your brown rice syrup is the element that's going to give it the fudgy, caramelly sort of consistency, which is beyond. And brown rice syrup isn't something that I would typically use too much in cooking because, again, it is sugary. I did say at the beginning this is not for diabetics, but we're talking holiday treat, so why not? And way better than refined sugar. And then finally, I'm adding a little bit of arrowroot, or you could use tapioca starch or non-GMO cornstarch, mixed with a little water to make a slurry, and then that goes in the pan as well, so probably a minute later, and that will just give it even more texture, the pie, that sort of very typical pecan pie, sort of gooey, yummy texture. So let's get that going. All right, guys, so I let the pie cool, and I want to show you something that I'm very proud of. The mark of a good pie is it comes out of the pie dish completely clean, right? And that is what really I was so thrilled about this crust, because you never know when you're making an alternative pastry crust, but it is perfect. It's crispy, it stays intact, you'll be so happy. And literally, I just did the plate thing, another plate on top, and voila. We have the perfect healthy pecan pie. And now, I think I'm gonna cut a slice. Right guys, time to try it. Now what I would recommend is that you top it with something delicious. So you could use a soy or a rice whipped cream, you could do a coconut whipped cream, you could do a vegan ice cream, so you have it a la mode. What kind of topping person are you? Is it gonna be cream, ice cream? Let me know in the comments underneath this video. But I am just going naked now with this because I really want to taste it as is before I embellish. That is the taste of a traditional pecan pie, but I'm just, oh, the crust is so good, but I'm loving it because it's so healthy. And a little bit of a shout out to Bobby and Joe in Georgia, my in-laws, because they sent the pecans to me. They mailed them to me all the way from Georgia, and each of these pecans was hand shelled by the Julianos. So thank you so much, and maybe you will try this recipe. Oh my God, it's so good.